Day of the Jackal. Episode 2, the scene shifts to Jackal in a Spanish valley, observing wildlife through his scope. It then transitions to Bianca at home, listening to news about Manfred's assassination. She receives a call from Sparrow, who accuses her of orchestrating Emma's arrest. Bianca denies any involvement but promises to help get Emma released, on the condition that Sparrow provides her with Norman Stokes' contact information. During an intelligence meeting with Osita and Isabella, Bianca reveals that Emma had a chronic heart condition and would likely have died eventually. She faces sharp criticism from Osita, who accuses her of causing Emma's death and demands that the entire operation be shut down. Later, Isabella brings in Mr. Carver to handle the situation and ensure that MI6 is not implicated in Emma's death. Osita argues that Bianca's pursuit of the killer is a futile endeavor yielding no tangible results. However, Bianca insists that finding the killer is unrelated to Emma's death, emphasizing that the assassin is still out there and will strike again. Carver promises to delay the publication of Emma's death for 24 hours. Bianca then contacts Allison, reaffirming her superior's approval to secure Emma's release. Provided Allison delivers Norman Stokes' contact information, Jackal arrives home and spends a moment with his family before heading to his office. There, he logs into Wikipedia to learn more about his next target, tech billionaire old Dag Charles, and his latest venture, Project River. Afterward, he logs into the dark web to check the status of his pending payment for his previous job. Unsatisfied, Jackal emails the Cayman Metropolitan Bank, demanding to know the source of his last payment of 3.75 million euros. Nuria enters the room, expressing her concerns about Jackal being overly consumed by work and neglecting their family. Jackal explains that one of his top clients has failed to fulfill their obligations. Nuria remarks that his clients practically own his soul, given the large sums they pay him. Despite this, they share a happy moment together. Meanwhile, at a meeting in New York City, another billionaire, Timothy, questions Xena about whether Jackal can be trusted. They all agree on his competence for the mission. Though they acknowledge that $100 million is an extraordinarily high amount, they watch a TV interview of Dag Charles, who promises to bring economic justice and financial transparency. Dag explains how Project River aims to redistribute wealth from the super-rich to the poor. Displeased, Timothy switches off the TV, insisting that Dag Charles must be eliminated before Project River is launched. Meanwhile, Allison is at home with her husband, Larry, Norman's brother. She is deeply worried about their daughter, Emma, despite Larry's attempts to comfort her. Determined, Allison expresses her desire to visit Emma in England. Larry admits to Allison that he doesn't have enough money for such a trip. Allison begs him to ask Norman for a loan, but Larry refuses, stating that he can't keep running to Norman every time they face trouble. Meanwhile, Jackal is celebrating his son Carrito's birthday with Nuria's relatives at their home in Spain. During the celebration, his brother-in-law, Vincent, mentions a deal to buy a bar. Jackal promises to look into it. When he returns, Jackal receives a message prompting him to log into his bank account. He accesses his laptop, logs in, and retrieves the details and location of the client who made the initial 3.75 million euro payment, but refused to pay the balance. He returns to the party, already packed and prepared to leave. Nuria, disappointed by his short stay, expresses her frustration. Jackal says goodbye to everyone and prepares to leave. Nuria, refusing to let him take a taxi, insists on driving him to the airport. The scene shifts to Bianca and Jack analyzing video footage of Jackal entering the Fest Corporation. Bianca deduces that Jackal is a mimic and not necessarily German. She notes his use of a canvas backpack, his right-handedness, and his preference for a Browning high-power Mark III pistol. Meanwhile, Nuria drives Jackal to Seville Airport, bidding him a heartfelt goodbye. After not hearing from Allison for an extended period, Bianca orders her team to investigate further. Meanwhile, Jackal abruptly changes his plans. He takes a cab to Andalusia Avenue, visits his bank vault, and retrieves cash, several passports, and travel documents. After leaving the bank, he heads to Santa Justa Station. Unfortunately, Nuria, who is out buying flowers, spots Jackal in the cab. Shocked, she tries calling him, but her call goes straight to voicemail. Returning home upset, Nuria shares the situation with her mother. Her mother criticizes her for being too trusting of her husband, suggesting that Jackal might be cheating on her. Nuria refuses to believe this and vows to handle the matter herself. Meanwhile, Bianca attends a briefing with Osita and Isabella. She confirms that the sniper is likely British with advanced military expertise. Bianca explains that the sniper used a Browning high-power Mark III pistol to attack Elias, a standard-issue weapon for the British Army, until 2013. She also reveals that the canvas backpack he carried is exclusively sold in Leeds, Britain, with no international shipping, indicating that the killer was operating within the UK. Bianca further confirms that the serial killer appears to be working independently. Bianca is granted more time to extract any leads from Sparrow before Sparrow learns about her daughter's death. She orders Damien to review records from all military academies in Britain, focusing on any exceptional right-handed candidates with fair complexions over the past 30 years. Meanwhile, Jackal receives a call from Xena, who informs him that her superiors have accepted the deal. However, she requests to meet him in person before the mission begins in the next 48 hours. The scene shifts to Allison and Larry at a bar. Allison asks Larry to get her a different drink, and while he steps away, she uses the opportunity to secretly snap photos of Norman's contact details from his phone. Meanwhile, at home with her family, Bianca receives a message from Allison. It contains Norman's contact information, which Bianca immediately forwards to Central Command. Bianca apologizes to her husband, Paul, and their daughter, Jasmine, before leaving. She heads to Riga, Latvia, to track down Norman Stoke. There, she meets another MI6 officer, Spencer, who informs her that the target is about 6 hours away. Meanwhile, at her hotel, Xena receives details about the meeting location with Jackal. She follows the route to a public park, unaware that Jackal is trailing her from behind. Xena takes a seat in the park, and Jackal soon joins her, instructing her to keep looking straight ahead. Xena mentions the substantial $100 million payment, but Jackal emphasizes the high risk associated with the target. He demands half the payment up front, but Xena counters with a $20 million deposit, which Jackal eventually accepts. Xena suggests that the hit should take place within a few weeks, before Dag Charles's Project River is launched. Jackal expresses dissatisfaction with being rushed, emphasizing the importance of adhering to his professional protocols. Xena, however, raises concerns about his extended stay in Munich a week after Manfred's assassination. Jackal assures her that there are no loose ends that could compromise the mission. Xena informs him that the mission has been given the code name Law Down. Jackal visits the bank and discovers that the source of his last payment was a company named Helleny. Curious, he goes online to research the company and learns that it is based in France and operates under Archford Trust UK. Bianca and her team approach Norman Stoke's hideout, strategically covering all exit points. Bianca calls out to Norman, demanding that he surrender, as the house is surrounded. As the team breaches the door, they are unaware of the bombs rigged inside. One of the agents is killed in the explosion. Norman Stoke emerges, shooting and killing a second officer. Bianca moves in, engaging in a fierce gunfight as she chases Norman through the chaos. Stoke manages to escape, leading Bianca to suspect that he had prior knowledge of their operation. Frustrated, she orders an extraction. However, she spots and secures Norman's suitcase before leaving. Meanwhile, Jackal continues his investigation and uncovers pictures of the client, who refused to pay his balance. He realizes that the man is a close associate of Elias, concluding that Elias might have been the one who financed the assassination of his father, Manfred Fest.